So I have a story to tell. I go to my local movie theater. I am walking to my theater in specific. I chose Dolby because I wanted the nice sound. There was a woman, kind of some manager, standing guard outside, and that made me instantly suspicious because the last time that happened was the first movie experience I had in LA, which was when Chris Hemsworth and Anya Taylor-Joy showed up at my movie theater. So instantly, I was suspicious. Then I go to my seat. There's not a lot of people at the 7:45 showing on a Thursday, but they were rowdy. Like, they were clapping after like every commercial. Even the commercial for Allstate, someone clapped, which we all laughed at, but that happened, right? And then the lights dim and then get brighter, and then they show the dog that did the motion capture for the little dinosaur that's in the movie, and then the director shows up, Gareth Edwards of Rogue One fame, and thanks us for going to see the movie and that he was really excited.
I'll keep this really short. I haven't planned a speech. Basically, when you make a movie, you're kind of living in a different time zone. You're not, when you're shooting it, you're not thinking you're there making the film. I'm picturing like a year from now when the movie comes out. I'm basically picturing tonight, and I'm picturing this cinema because the idea was when I watched the monitor, you would sort of show it in Thailand, some very hot countries and stuff. You kind of put your t-shirt over the monitor to kind of hide everything, and I'd get my fingers and I'd put them in front of the monitor as if they were little heads in the cinema, so I could remind myself of what this might feel like, so the decisions you were making were basically for you guys in the audience right now. So I think you were like my index finger, and you were my middle finger there. So I just hope you enjoy the movie.
And then he sat in the theater to watch it with us. So we were watching it knowing he was in the crowd. So we were all more energized than I think we otherwise would be. There was much more clapping. There was just a lot. There was a good vibe in the theater, and that was a lovely experience. So in a respect, I feel like I'm reviewing almost that experience rather than the movie. The movie was fun, and I enjoyed it. The dinosaurs were a delight. The action was fun. There was kind of this almost gimmick of like, we're going to we have to get blood from the biggest dinosaur of the sea and the biggest dinosaur of the land and the biggest dinosaur of the sky, and then so there's almost like has like a quest kind of feel. The characters fall into two groups. There's this group that's going after this dino blood to create a cure for heart disease. Okay? And then there's another group that is just this random family that got their ship attacked by like a wild mosasaur, and then they get rescued by the first group, and then they split up again, and it's basically those two groups back and forth through the whole movie. I think a lot of the concepts worked. I didn't feel very connected to any of the characters personally. They left me a little cold. I don't know whether to blame the script, which felt very, very safe. There was no surprises anywhere in this movie. Everything happened kind of exactly how you expected it to happen. And there was even things where it just felt almost rote, where they're like, okay, and now we will have this scene where this woman talks about her PTSD. And now we will have this scene where they talk about this guy's dead kid. And it feels very almost formulaic, and we're like, okay, we need to have this here, and it doesn't flow naturally. There were a bunch of scenes that just, it really felt like, oh, we should have a heart-to-heart here, so we'll have a heart-to-heart here, but the actual content is not very necessary for the plot. The script was pretty weak. The jokes, I think on paper would have worked, but their delivery or their timing didn't work a lot of the time. Some of them did. I would say most of the jokes that landed were with the pothead boyfriend character of the daughter of in that family group, a lot of his jokes landed, and some of the scientist jokes landed. A couple of Scarlett Johansson's jokes landed, but I found her performance weirdly stilted. I thought a lot of the actors, it felt a bit like they were phoning it in. I didn't feel like any of them were giving it their best, really, which is a shame because I like a lot of the actors that were in that movie, but I didn't feel like it wasn't a terrible performance. It just kind of felt very bland, but it was just very predictable to the point where I was predicting action beats where I'm like, okay, then this will happen. And it did exactly, even visually. It took me out a bit where I didn't feel gripped by some of these sequences because I kind of saw where it was going, and all the characters that you figured were going to stay till the end, you there were no surprises about who lived and who died. It was just it was very safe. It was a very safe movie. It wasn't bad. I enjoyed it. It didn't feel very creative story-wise. I think some of the visual choices and the directing choices are a little more artistic, but the characters were so one-dimensional. Like the villain figure character, you know everything about him immediately, you know, and you even know how he's going to end up. You know nothing. There was nothing surprising about him. There's nothing surprising about like any of them except the like lazy boyfriend character, who was the best character by virtue of being like introduced as this kind of lazy guy, and like what does she see in him, and then he steps up and when the chips go down actually does stuff. That character worked. I actually liked that character because there was a level of depth, very subtle, wasn't very deep, but it was just a little bit, you know, just a little bit going on. Besides him, everyone was exactly who you thought they were. They were just pawns for the set piece than actual characters, and they made decisions kind of just to move the plot along. Like the scientist guy, I'm very disappointed with him because I think you could have done something interesting with that character, and they really, really didn't. He's introduced as this, you know, idealist dinosaur expert guy, and then early-ish in the movie, he throws out this plan to kind of backstab the employer, and I was like, this could have been delivered in a more interesting way than just kind of out of the blue. Like if this was like revealed in some dramatic fashion of this being a plan of his, it would have been so cool because it's not painted that way. Like it's painted as him thinking about doing something noble. But I'm like, no, I mean, there's a lot of nobility in it, but you had to be shady and backstabby to achieve this result, and find out that this guy has that in him. It would be like, oh, that's cool. But that's not how that was painted at all. It was just more like, hey, don't you think it would be a good idea if this miracle drug went to the people instead of the rich, basically? And it felt very divorced from reality. He didn't seem to have some plan of actually getting the miracle drug to the people without the help of the corporation. So it's like, how are you, like, what's your plan to make it open source? Because how it is, his plan appears to be to tell the mercenary, money-obsessed lady about a wholesome, altruistic, what-if scenario, and hope she grows a heart during their day-long adventure so that she can achieve his dream for him. There's no agency. There's no action he personally takes to make his scheme real. It really is just him out of the blue proclaiming his idea, and then the universe conspires to help him achieve it. If he felt like he was actually scheming and this wasn't just kind of some high in the sky idea, it would have been more interesting. You could have done something with that, but no, they painted him too squeaky clean for it to feel real. Like, the company guy never actually finds out that the scientist was planning on betraying the company. They never reveal that. So there's never this moment of tension or showdown between them ideologically. It's just this concept introduced that never becomes a driving force of the story when it kind of should be. I just feel disconnected from. I wonder if it would have been better because they started by introducing the miracle drug team and then family people. I wonder if they introduced a family first and then the family gets rescued by these guys and then you discover what their whole plan is and their deal is while they're in it, and then not have this opening where the screenwriter practically explains the mission and the plot to the audience. I think letting the audience be a little in the dark at first when the family gets picked up by a mysterious mercenary ship with mysterious goals would help the viewer connect with that terror and confusion. They're normal people. They have no idea what's going on. They were practically built to be the audience stand-in, and yet the audience always has more information than them. So there's this disconnect. We're not along for the ride with them. I don't know. The music sometimes I feel took away from certain scenes where they were trying to make you feel something before the characters had done the thing that would make you feel that thing. So it was a little distracting. Or sometimes some of it was great. John Williams' theme is lovely. It was a fun movie. I enjoyed the visuals. I enjoyed the action and seeing dinosaurs. Anyway, that's what I thought about it. But what did you think of Jurassic World Rebirth? Drop a comment down below and subscribe if you liked this review. If you'd like to support me further, I have a book. You can start reading for free in the link down below. Happy reading. Take care.